Prisoners that killed cellmates reacting to life sentences because it houses horrifying criminals who have committed horrifying crimes against humanity. Prisons are never happy places for people, and we wouldn't expect them to be. However, did you know that some murderers have committed their crimes while incarcerated and are currently serving another sentence? We're going to show you 5 insane prisoners who kill their cellmates in this video, so buckle up and watch. Number 5. Meet Shane Goldsby, 26-year-old. In 2017, Goldsby was in prison for stealing a police car and crashing it, injuring an officer. He was placed in the Airway Heights Correctional Facility with 70-year-old Robert Munger. Munger served 43 years in prison on multiple counts of child abuse and pornography. Once Goldsby was ordered to share a cell with Munger, things took a turn for the worse when Shane overheard Munger gloating about his misconduct. Shane was disturbed by this, but he gradually learned who he shared a cell with years ago. Shane's younger sister was abused by an older man. Shane discovered that Robert Munger's crimes, which he was taunting him about, were committed on his sister years prior. Goldsby was unable to control his anger after hearing Munger boast about what he did to Shane's younger sister. Munger died 3 days later from his injuries. Goldsby told reporters he was surprised to hear Munger was from the same institution unit and cell as him and requested a changed cellmate, but was denied. This is like winning a prize in a casino. Goldsby apologized to Munger's family and admitted to being in a bad mood when he met him, denying the likelihood of the same pot in the scenario 7 times. During his sentencing, Goldsby's attorney read his apology on his behalf. He had a difficult childhood, being placed in 10 foster homes before reuniting with his mother, who used drugs with him. Despite the Washington Department of Corrections' prohibition against such jail assignments, they were unable to find a connection between Goldsby and Munger due to various factors. Goldsby was sentenced to 25 years in prison, including 3 years of parole for second-degree murder. He was also ordered to pay reparations to the victim's family. While some argue that taking a life is never acceptable, others argue that Shane's actions were reasonable for a good brother. Number 4. Anthony George. When someone disrespects you, they're often dealt with. Anthony George said he was drunk when he killed Adam Kargus. The heartbreaking tragedy of Adam Kargus will break your heart. At the time of his murder, 29-year-old Adam was serving a 90-day fraud term at the Elgin Middlesex Prison Center. He shared cell number 3 with Anthony George, who was doing time for severe assault. In 2013, Adam was viciously beaten and killed by Anthony George, a fellow inmate at the EMDC in London, Ontario. This was a distressing aspect. The incident was captured on video surveillance, with other convicts yelling for aid, but no correctional personnel or guards were available to view the film. Unfortunately, I was unable to access the video during my exposure, which should cause concern. After 22 minutes of being choked, punched, kicked, and stomped on, Adam appeared in his cell, praying for help. His plea went unanswered, and he was tortured for another 37 minutes before being killed. The jail officers and security team, who heard the noises from the cell, did not investigate. Anthony George, the inmate who killed Adam, has a history of violent crime inside and outside prison. He says he's a nice guy who doesn't do anything until it's necessary, but he'll be the first to help when asked. After being segregated for serious assault, he was sent to Elgin Middlesex. George enjoyed boasting about his toughness, often at the cost of other convicts, including Adam, according to the autopsy report. Adam suffered 122 injuries, including 34 cuts and bruises on his head and face. His last words were apology and remorse, as was his killer's. It's heartbreaking that officers on duty receive no repercussions for their negligence. Anthony George was sentenced to life in prison for second-degree murder, with parole eligibility soon after. Number 3. Stephen D. Sanderson. He public was appalled by George's actions, but Stephen D. Sanderson, a criminal seen as a hero, was not. While some felt sorry for his family, there was no remorse towards Sanderson. S.D. Sanderson murdered his jail cellmate, Theodore Dyer, who was serving 25 years for first-degree criminal sexual behavior against a child in October 2014. Sanderson, serving life without parole for murdering his fiancée in 1991, pled guilty to second-degree murder in February 2015. Sanderson stated at his sentencing that he was not a hero. While several commended Sanderson's efforts, he maintained that he acted in his own best interest, despite the perception that he was a hero. He also acknowledged receiving emails criticizing him, stating that he should not judge others. Sanderson stated that he did not evaluate Dyer, but rather set up the appointment. People think I'm a hero, but I just did my best in the time I had. Despite receiving emails stating that it was not my role to judge others, I did not judge him. I believe God is the sole judge and have set the appointment. Police report Sanderson questioned Dyer about his conviction and assaulted him when Dyer refused to quit denying or justifying his actions. Sanderson knocked Dyer out and strangled him with shoelaces. Sanderson stated at sentencing that he did not regret his actions but felt sorry for Dyer's family. He did not express remorse towards Dyer, but felt bad for Dyer's family. Sanderson was sentenced to life in prison without parole. According to Sanderson's attorney, he must serve his sentence for the heinous murder alongside his present life sentence in Michigan, without parole, notwithstanding his offenses. Gus described Sanderson as likable, questioning his childhood if born at a different time and to different people. After Dyer's death, Sanderson was transferred to a higher security level and is now incarcerated at the Ionia Correctional Facility. Sanders instructed Gus to inform Dyer's family that he had told Michigan Department of Corrections personnel to avoid putting him in a cell near a child molester to prevent him from being cut down. Sanderson felt publishing this information would facilitate financial recovery for the family. Child molesters face harsh jail conditions, as Julio Cesar Garza demonstrated. Number 2. Julio Cesar Garza, aged 31. Garza was serving a 5-year life sentence for aggravated robbery when he murdered his cellmate. He had a history of committing many crimes while in prison and had been given multiple chances to improve his behavior. Garza brutally abused his cellmate, Carlos Adrian Javier Hernandez, for over 7 minutes. Hernandez, a 14-year-old imprisoned for sexually assaulting and killing a 15-year-old girl, was serving a 15-year to life sentence when he decided to end his life. During the trial, Garcia expressed regret for his actions, claiming he did not intend to kill Hernandez. He had admitted responsibility and expressed regret daily, but the judge ruled that Garcia's crime was more significant. Garza's defense attorney argued for a 25-year to life sentence with parole, but the judge ruled that his heinous and brutal crime was not justified by his childhood experiences. The judge also criticized his demeanor during the trial and sentencing. According to Garza's sister and children's grandmother, he was a decent parent with a kind heart. The judge emphasized his obligation to society and public safety over his circumstances. Number 1. Anthony Paradise. Anthony Paradise, 44, is serving time in prison for the 2017 robbery of Adirondack Trust Bank in Saratoga. He upgraded his sentence in prison, indicating that he was not murdered due to child molestation. Court filings allege Paradise attempted to strangle 2 other inmates and choke and suffocate 1 inmate at the Saratoga County Jail in January 2018. Later that year, Tanner was accused of strangling another inmate at Washington Correctional Facility with a shoelace. The victim refused to cooperate, so the second incident was not prosecuted. District Attorney Joe Stanchion said Tanner was unlucky. In November 2018, Paradise strangled Delmas Tanner with a bed sheet in a state prison. Tanner died 4 days later, while Paradise was serving a 5-year sentence for attempted drug sales. 5 months later, a grand jury indicted Paradise for second-degree murder. He pleaded guilty in October 2022. Paradise was sentenced to 17 years to life in prison at Green Correctional Facility for murdering his cellmate. Despite his violent tendencies, he allegedly assaulted and tackled fellow inmates in 2 incidents in January and July 2022. If he maintains good behavior and maintains good conduct, he may be released in 2 years. Although Delmas Tanner was not a child predator, it is clear that offenders who commit crimes involving children have a less than spectacular life in prison. So this is the end of our today's video. Do you like it? Kindly give your valuable response in our comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting and informative videos.